Guys, welcome back to our channel. Yes, I am standing next to the piece, but I don't want you to see the entire reveal yet. So Chris is taking two pieces, one that I have thrifted and a desk that his sister had and wasn't going to be needing in her new home, so gave it to us free. So yeah, let's see what we can do to this. So when he dragged that desk out, and then I was going through my stash and I'm like, oh, I've got this bookshelf that he spied. Yeah, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wouldn't that look nice on top of that? And yeah, so this is the story how two pieces became one. So here it is. It is a type of desk, just some extra storage, very decorative. It's just that pine, but super cute. Kind of goes with that primitive type of vibe. It was actually, as I found out, his mother had bought it at an auction forever ago. So yes, it's actually been in their family for a little while. So we were super excited, though. Nobody really has room for it anymore, so we get the chance to make it over. With the layer of dust, can you tell how long this bookshelf has been in our possession? So I think I paid $5.09 for it, but it was all wood, so I couldn't help but pick it up. Now it is this almost the exact same type of wood with the thickness and all that, but unfortunately it's a little bit too large to fit on top. But luckily, Chris and I had the same vision, so he was willing to take this piece apart and cut it down to fit on the top of this. So not always an easy task, which is good that he can cut it down because one, it was too big, and then two, it had that hole in the back of the backing that we're not going to worry about that right now. But yes, he's going to just go ahead and take it apart, which seems really easy, but the shelves themselves were inlaid into the side pieces. Why is it when you want to take something apart, it is made really well and it doesn't want to come apart? Oh, he has so many of those nails to get to remove. So now he just needs to take his shelves and the top and the bottom pieces and cut them to length. One of the questions we get a lot is about his cutting jig that he uses on his table saw. So hopefully someday when he's able to start his whole channel, he can explain that to you all. Now it's time to get it put back together. So some Titebond glue in those seams and some brad nails, and he will get this all easily back together. Well, I can say it a lot faster than he can get it back together. Getting this all clamped together, I thought I'd just share a little story with you that our 20-something two children, when they asked their father what he wanted for Christmas this year, and he always says clamps, and they're like, oh, he always wants clamps for Christmas and for his birthdays and any time he wants a gift. But yes, as a woodworker, you cannot have too many clamps. And he was able to run the backing through the table saw and get rid of that hole. Now it is the exact match. It matches perfectly. It almost already looks like it was always made this way. There was no sense of cleaning it before you ran it through the table saw and worked up some sawdust, but now it definitely needs to get cleaned. Just some Superclean and some hot water and get this all that dust and a few cobwebs off of it. We knew there was a little bit of wonkiness to the desk itself, that its pieces and parts needed tightened up, but nope, did not know that piece of that foot was missing. Yes, I'm not sure if these were ever really even nailed on or they had just come loose with time, but you can see as you're moving around, or if it shifts, you can definitely hear those moving. He's unable to move that second shelf, so he's just going to brad nail it in place and then fix the bottom shelf from flipping it upside down. You just work with what the piece gives you. Some Durham water putty to the rescue to fix that foot. So it's just a little bit of a chunk off that bottom round piece. So he's just going to make a semi-dry paste that's not going to be soupy and run, just that he'll be able to build it up, and then as it's drying and curing, he can kind of shape it into that round shape. And then he has some nail holes on this bookshelf part to give it that nice smooth finish. He's going to go ahead with that Durham water putty and fill those in also. Now Chris is just going to be using a nail set. As these drawers were being pulled in and out, you could feel that it was having something grinding on the wood underneath, and you could definitely see those marks being made. So over time, those nails had just become loose. And the same thing has happened with these drawers. Now this is just particle board on the bottom of these drawers, and you can see how, yep, it's just become loose. It's all broken off. So he's just going to go ahead and remove all the previous nails and re-screw it in. Now that Durham water putty has set up overnight, I'm going to go in with the sander and sand that off and get it nice and smooth. Some 220 sandpaper on our Festool sander. But for the foot, I have to go in and hand sand it, and I'm just using that 220 sandpaper, and I'm just trying to stay in a round motion. Now to even out the porosity where I'd sanded and we'd added the Durham water putty, I'm just going to use a couple coats of shellac, and that will do the job. Now when it comes to having a piece that has a whole bunch of cubbies like this, spraying it is definitely an easy job. So I'm going to be using the black onyx ready to use paint off the shelf from Walmart. Not that you could read the labels, we've poured it a couple times, and our True Coat handheld sprayer. I'm looking for when I'm lifting up that paint stir is that the paint is not laying on top of each other, that it's totally being immersed, and then I know that I have my ratio water paint mixture perfect. Nice thing about prepping a piece is if you prep it right, that it does not take more than 2 coats to cover this black. So yep, we are leaving this black. I love that dark feature of the black, and the black has been selling right now for us in our area, especially since this kind of has that primitive vibe going on. So now to seal this black in, I'm going over with some Polycrylic. Now to break up the bookshelf, there's so much black going on with this piece, just to give it some accents. Chris is going in and he's cutting pallet wood, so he's going to be putting pallet wood on the back of this bookshelf. Wait till you'll see as he puts that pallet wood pieces in to dry fit it, how that just elevates this. And especially since there was nothing special about that particle board backing to this whatsoever. So now it's just particle board, so there's not really a lot to staple on, to brad nails in. So what he's going to do is just going to do some tight bond glue on the back of the pallet wood, and then from the back he's going to use screws to screw into that pallet wood to make sure that it's nice and secure. And then there's just a little bit of touch-up paint to do. Well, you know, you want that pallet wood to be a nice tight fit, and to do that sometimes you scrape up your paint. So now after getting the touch-up paint with some polycrylic and letting that dry, he's going into distress sanding. We definitely want to give it that distressed look with some 220 sandpaper on these edges to go down to that wood. And after getting the edges distressed the way that he likes, he's going in with some fine grit steel wool and sanding down the rest of the piece, making sure, one, that there's no texture, it's nice and smooth, and then opening up that polycrylic. Why is it that some of the backs of these older pieces are just so beautiful? So I decided to tape off that whole area. Look at how pretty that is. I know it's the back, but I still wanted it to stay pretty. Now here's the reason that he still wooled the entire piece to open up that polycrylic. That way when he goes to use this antiquing wax that just richens up this black paint, the antiquing wax has something to grab onto. When it came to the hardware, all I did was clean the hinges up, spray paint them black, seal them in with some clear coat. But when it came to the knobs, I absolutely love the knobs with this. Now, they were the original ones, they were wooden, they were in great shape. I definitely love that pop of that dark wood with this black. So we're almost there, but I just decided on one more thing now, since those knobs are really almost that walnut-y color that I love. So I'm going to mix up some more of my antiquing watered down wax mixture, and yep, we got a bigger pickle jar so I can make up some more. So that's about as much as I have in the bottom of the antiquing wax. Fill it up with water, and then I take a spoonful, like a leveled off spoon like you were measuring to cook, and then put a little bit of that Waverly ink in it, and that eliminates that red that sometimes happens. So this is my new jar of watered down antiquing wax. I think by one coat, just brushing it on this palette wood will really match up with those knobs a little bit better. Now, so this top piece does not scratch the bottom piece. I think it's heavy enough. We don't need to attach it to the top and make it able to be movable. Just some felt pieces on the bottom. And then this particle board just did not paint very well. Had to retighten it with some better screws, some longer screws. So I just ordered some of this newspaper print in the white. They have a cream tannish version that I've done before, but this time I ordered the white one. So now I'm just going to cut it. It is the exact length of the drawers. So I'm just going to be laying this. It's a wallpaper, not quite a contact paper, to the bottom of this. And then so the wood doesn't come down on the wood. It's a weird area. We played with a hinge, but just not going to do one, was not going to do this piece justice. It's just one of those pieces you're going to have to hold the door up to get into. So especially when you have the bookshelf on top of it, but so the wood doesn't hit each other, just some little silicone pads. So I think Chris did a great job cutting down this bookshelf, putting it on top of this desk. Oh my gosh, yep, being able to fix that foot, some of the problems with the drawers, and yes, now this just looks like a nice piece that anybody would like to have. That's probably a little bit more on the primitive industrial side, but that has been selling well for us, so why not keep doing it when you have a piece that comes along? Yep, tying in the pallet wood on the back of the bookshelf in with that hardware. Wow, didn't even know that was going to come together so well. So thanks for watching today's video, guys, and if we have inspired you in any way to look at pieces and parts and thrift store finds and just things laying around your house that you never thought of putting together before, give us a comment. So thanks again for watching, and if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you're new and you're checking out this content for the first time and you liked what you saw, please hit that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know when we've uploaded a new video, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye.